Hello everyone. Is my voice is audible for all? If if it is audible, tell it in the chat box whether you can able to. Is my voice how everything is audible and everything is clear? Tell it in the chat box, please. So please respond in the chat box if you joined the live section. We will start the live section within 2 to 3 minutes. We will start the day 4 class in React.js, and we will start to do that. Okay. Just tell it in the chat box. Just give a comment in the chat box. Okay. Quick. If you join the session, just tell it in the chat box. Good evening, bro. Good evening, Tanya. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so the same thing. We're going to have people share you and link. The attendance link will be shared later, and if you fill the attendance form, you will get an certification. I think most of you following Sir Nabidu Biswa sir in LinkedIn, and the we already provided the beginner to advanced JavaScript certificate to the person who completed the workshop. We already provided it, and if you completed this React.js workshop, and you will get this participation certificate, and also you will get mentioned in Nabidu Biswas LinkedIn post. That is huge. Okay, so yeah, so today what we are going to learn is, yesterday we have learned about, we completed the components and we completed the props, right? So today we're going to learn about something called as states. Okay, so I just want to show you and blog. Okay, so that is by our blog, so that the web dev, the team of the web dev, so we have our own blog website, so there are well structured blogs is available. Okay, space logo to Tanya man. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to explain about what is props and what is state, and we're going to create a class-based state and also a function-based state, and how can I control a class-based how can I control the class-based states in React, and how can we conclude the control the function-based component in the React. Everything we're going to see today, and we're going to see much more concepts in React also. And maybe tomorrow we will do an entire application, an API project. We're going to do it tomorrow. Okay, let me see it and let's get started now. Okay, so let me see what is the difference between props and states. Okay, so let us go and I will show you the blog. So this is our blog. You can search it in Google, thewebdev.tech. Okay, if you search it in thewebdev.tech and type React beginner, okay, and you will get a day 1 to around 18 to 19 days, the beginner level concepts are there. Okay, you can just go and watch it, and you can read the blogs also. If you have free times, you can reading the time. Okay, so I am right now showing you the beginner block of 5. Okay, so what does that means? So we're going to see about difference between props and state, and we will straightly move on to the code and start to write the code. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so the states are just passed through the components. It is true, right? Because imagine what has happened when we have props. We passed properties from one component to another component, and that's what props it is. So it's like a property where we can pass the data from one component to another component, and still we can pass to further other component. Like that, we can able to pass it. So transferring data from a component to component. Okay, so that is how React works, right? Because everything is a small component, and we need to group it together, and we are coming with. So I need to transfer data. That is props will do. Okay, so with the help of props, we can transfer the data. Okay, and state is managed within the component, which means if you have states, okay, you cannot send it to another component. So state is something like a local variable. It is managed within the state. So why it is used for? Remember that what I said about React. So the first thing I say that it is has component, reusable components, where you can build small components and you can group it together, right? That is the first point. And second point I said about React is, I discussed about something about declarative programming. So what is mean by that? Well, we don't want to tell what React want to do and how to do it. Okay, React. I just want to tell React what to do, and it will takes how to do it. I don't want to tell how to do. Okay, I don't want to speak about how to do. So React will find an optimized way to bring out that, right? So initially I just give an example. It's like an editing. You have your initial clip and you have your final clip, and you will add the transition in between, and that's it. So your initial clip is changed to the final clip. That's how editing works, right? Same like that. So how React works means, we have our initial stage of our application, we have our final stage of application. In between, we have some event listeners like click event, like that. We have some event listeners, and if something has happened, that stage is changed to this stage. So I will only tell the initial stage of my application and the ending stage of my application and an event listener, and I don't want to tell how to change it. You want to change, you need to go for the DOM, and you need to get the DOM ID, and you need to choose this way, and you need to navigate through this tree, and you need to go and create an element up. And I don't want to do anything. I just simply want to tell, well, this is my initial stage and this is my final stage. If someone clicks it, change my initial stage to the final stage. That's what it is. And Reacts will take care of how it need to change it. Okay, so that's what the specialty about React. And state is the stage. State is within the function that is telling the initial stage. So, and we will create another state, and that is our final stage. Okay, so simply the initial stage and final stage, and state is, that's it. Okay, that is what the state is used for, to determining the initial state and to determine the final state. Okay, that's what it is. Hello Sivakumar, welcome. Okay, so that's what the state is used for. So the state is within the component. Why it is within the component? Now you can understand why. Because it is determining how my initial stage and how my ending stage is going to be. It is all about the data, right? So it will be there within the component. Okay, so it is about that component. So it will be there. Okay, so that's what it is. And second one is going to be, it's like a function parameters. Yes, we have discussed it, right? We pass through a parameter and we will get it and we can use it. It's like a function parameter, and like we can pass it and we can, whenever we want it, we can get it and we can use it like that. Okay, and here it's like a variable declared in the function body. Well, this is what I say. So it's like a variable we declared inside this function body. Means what is meant by that? Well, it is locally available. It is available only inside that state. Okay, it is available only inside the state, that we can use this state inside itself. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, and the second one is, props are immutable. Well, what is meant by immutable? Anyone says what is meant by immutable? So immutable means it is not changeable. Okay, like you can see that all our primitive in JavaScript, all our primitive data types are immutable. Okay, and other things are mutable. What is meant by that? So which means they are not changeable. Immutable means not changeable. What is properties? I'm giving a data and I'm sharing to it, but I will not change that. That is just sending the data. We are not changing props in between anywhere, right? So small downs, what is the difference between React and Angular? So it's just like strings in Java, right? Yes, of course. All the primitive data types are immutable only. String is an immutable data type. We cannot change it, because once we declare, that's it. We cannot change it. Once we need to reassign it, but we cannot change it. That's what it is. Once it is created, it is there. That's it. And the difference between Angular and React is very simple. This I'm telling right now, right? So the imperative and declarative, right? So in React, it is also have components and components, but you need to connect each and every component, right? This component is linked with that component is linked with that component, like that. You need to connect each and every component, and that will get confusion in the DOM operation. But here in in Angular, that will do that. But in React, it is simplified. We don't want to touch the DOM, it will take care of it. So that is the difference between React and Angular and React. Okay, so Angular is the first came framework for JavaScript for front-end development, and React will just get advanced, and you can go with React instead of go for Angular, because Angular is used in the topmost tech companies of like Google, Microsoft, and those are companies. Those who already developed some project in Angular, they are using it. But all the startups and middleware companies, everything is switching towards the React, and even the big companies also switching towards React. You can use it, okay, because React is much more. Okay, so even in 2000, I'm not sure, 2022, in the initial stage, everyone started to post like Angular is dead, like that. They posted it because there is no updation has happened, and React has completely steal the front end library or front end framework. Okay, everything. So it will be there. Either you can go for React or Vue.js. Okay, either you can go like that. Okay, that's the differences. Okay, And here I just say props are immutable, which means just props are just we need to change. We just want to give the data here and we need to transfer the data there and I can use it. I'm not able to change it. That's just the first thing. And state are mutable, which means I can able to change it. So what is this? Why? What is state? It is an initial stage and it is an ending stage, right? So I need to change it. So if I want to change my stage, then I want to change the data, so it is changeable. That is, we will see practically also, just understanding the reaction. Props are a function component and use state hook is also a function component. They are mentioning something like that. And here this props is class based component, this state is class. Like, how can I use functional component? I can use simply props, and in class based component I need to use this dot props, and in function component I need to use a hook, okay, called use state, and in class component I need to use this dot state. Okay, they are mentioning it. Like, first let's go and try to write code and understand state much more better, and let me come to this block and again refer it. Okay, so let us minimize the screen. Going for here I think it is day4.js. I think src. I think this is this folder. What is the folder? It is a folder of workshop, right? Having a folder with workshop. Okay, let me do one thing. We will go here and we started to write code here. Okay, let me open this one and we started to code here. Okay, there are so much of bootcamps right now going on, so that is why I just forgot about what is the folder that we worked with. That's it, no problem here. So what we need to do, well, we once since it's initialized, we need to write a command. Check it whether you are in the right application. Right now I'm in project application. Check it you are in the right application or not. So that is the main thing. And I just going to use the git bash in this one, and I just going to say npm start. And you can use npm, and also you can use yarn, whatever the package manager you like to use, you can use it. So most common npm, and yarn is also much more better, you can use it, no problem with that. Okay, so that is also here, and we will start it, and it is going to start our React server here. Okay, let me see. I think this is a folder that is installed yesterday. Okay, and let me go here, and you can see. Okay, this is our basic application. Yesterday we have created a folder, right? So that's what it is. Okay, so here it will be there and everything will be here. Okay, now what I'm going to do, let us come here, and what we can do right now, we know that what are the things that we don't want, right? So let us remove these things. Okay, save it. It is going to throw me an error. Okay, nothing here, so it is going to be throw. And here I just going to say index.js, and index.js, whatever we want. We don't want this import, we want this import, we don't want this import, and we don't want this import. And I'm never going to again deleting everything, and I'm not going to show it. Watch the previous video, it will be there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to create a folder called components. Okay, so here inside this, I'm going to create class based component. So I'm just going to say what is intro state .jsx, like this. So I just created a component, and right now, yesterday we had discussed about properties, right? Today we're going to discuss about states. Okay, so here first we will create a class based component for app.js. Okay, so mostly today we work with the class based component. So I'm just going to say import, okay, React. Okay, from like this. And here, what is this? I just destructured the component. Okay, every time I don't want to write react.component, instead of that I just destructured it here, or otherwise you can go like this also, no problem. React, you can mention it like this, also, it is up to you. Okay, so you can destructure it, that is a good way. I just say app, and it is going to be extend react, and here I'm writing react.component, right? So instead of that, you can destructure it and you can simply call component. So that is what it is. Instead of here, I just go and call destructure it and I can call it. So let me leave this one. And what we see about rendering things, and we just want to return what we want to return. I just going to say a div element. Okay. Right now, I just going to say hello world simply. And today, and I just want to say export default app. And here we are getting, and let us go for this intro.jsx and started to create a component here. It is going to say import component from React. Okay. And I just going to say class, and it is going to be my intro state. Okay. And it is extends from, instead of react.component, now you can write like component. Why? Because we destructured here. Okay. So it is also valid. So we destructured here. So destructuring is a concept of ES6. Have a look into that. Okay. I just say return. So you don't think like I'm not teaching this ES6 and classes, and because if we started to teach the ES6 in JavaScript means what will happen? Okay, just a minute. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, I forgot where is the live it is. Okay, so if I started to teach the year 6 means then the time it takes more time and we are not able to achieve it. Okay, so I have an 8 days of workshop. Please watch that one. Okay, so destructuring is nothing but like getting the element outside from an object or an array. Okay, so taking each and every variable outside from it. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, here I just going to create and we can create an h1. Okay, and here we will create like count like this, something like this, and here we will export default intro class like this. Okay, so now intro state, now we will import it here. Okay, here I just want to import, instead of this one I just want to import the intro state. Okay, and I just want to give a space and remove it, put inside this div. Now we are getting this count. So what I'm going to do, I just going to create an initial stage of my state. So how can I create it? So well, we know that in classes we have constructor. So what the constructor will do, well, the constructor holds all our data, right? All our data here. So how, okay, so all our data here. So how can I store? So with the help of this construction, we can able to create our state. So what you need to do means you need to call the constructor, a default method that is available. It is used to construct our data, and you need to call the super. It is going to get all the parents data that we want. It is get that. Okay, to create the state, how you need to create the state means you need to tell this dot state, and here you need to tell what is the data that you need to store here. So here I just going to say this dot state, and it is going to be an object, and the count is equal to, I just going to say 0 like this. Okay, so how this is our, like, consider what is that. Consider here what is that. States are declared inside a function body, or states are changed, it is managed within the function component. Okay, it is like a local component, local data that is inside that function. Okay, so here we created our local, like a local variable. Okay, so like that we have created it and we can able to use it. So how can I use it? Well, if you want to use this, and we know that if you want to write a JavaScript code inside an HTML, you need to use this curly braces. And here, how can you access it? Let us look into this. And how we can access it in class-based component, you need to say this dot state, and you can access it. So how I can go and access it? I just simply say this dot state. Okay, and what I need to do, if I just give state and this is an object, so I can go further and I can call for this component. So count, count like this. Okay, now if I save it and let us look into our application, you can able to see we are getting plus 0. I just remove this plus and I just give it. You can see we're getting this count and we are getting this data. So now I'm going to give a demonstration. So what does that means? Well, we will create a button here. Okay. So we will create a div. Inside this div, we will create a button and we're going to see how to handle events in React. Okay, event handlers in React. So how can we handle it means simply we close it and I just going to say click. Okay, so what I'm going to say, okay, so if someone clicks it, I need to change my state. So this is my starting stage and I need to change it to someone's. If someone clicks it, I need to change my state to something. Okay, so how can I do it? How can I do it? So for that in JavaScript, what we will do, we will add an event listener, right? So we will add an event listener. So here I just going to add an event listener like on, you can see all the event listener. We want a click event. Okay, if someone clicks it, okay, and you can see that the JavaScript, it need to write it in the curly braces. And what I'm going to do, I just going to call a function to execute. Okay, so and here I just going to say a default method that is available to change the state of the component. So what is that means? What is that means? Set state. So how can I call the set state means? You need to say this dot set state. Okay, so here it is an arrow function and it is going to call a function, and here the this refers to this class component, and here I just say state and it will go for the state, and here I can tell what I want to change. And here inside the set state, it is a method, and here I need to tell what I want to change. And here another thing that you need to notice is what you like, what data type that you stored the data, you need to give that data type. For example, if you stored here an array, you need to call like an array. While changing, you need to call the array. Okay, if you are give it in an object, you need to call it an object. If it is in string, you need to call it in a string, like that. Most case in case of class based, it is an object. So right now it is an object. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say object, still it is an object, so I'm just using the curly braces. And here I'm going to say this dot state dot count. Okay, what is the value that we having inside the this state? Remove this one here. Okay, so for clear purpose, I can write like this, or you can write a separate function also, that is also possible. And here I just going to say it's an object, and I just say this dot state dot count. Okay, okay, let me do one thing. Let me do one thing. First we will log the this dot state. Okay, I just going to say console dot log, and I want to log this dot state. What is this? Okay, so I just want to log. Okay, we done a syntax error. Okay, we remove this one, and I just going to, someone clicks it, we will log a simple functionality. Okay, click. Okay, here I just going to say, just say console dot log. If someone clicks it in the console dot log, click like this. Okay, we are adding an event listener, and if someone clicks it, I just want this console dot log to click it. Let me check it here, and in the console we are getting an error. Okay, so this error is previously came. If I click it, you can see we are getting this error. So now what I want to do, I need to set the state. Instead of if I click it, I need to update my state. Why we placed the state in a constructor? Because the state is common now. So where everyone can, like, this inside this component, anywhere I can able to access it, right? Anywhere I can able to access it. And what I'm going to do now, I just going to change it. So how can I change it? So there are actually three ways to change that one. So the first one is using bind method. You can see a weird concept, something weird will be here, it is written. So we don't want to do this. Okay, we actually don't want to do this. We can use arrow function to solve this problem. Okay, so what we can do, I just going to say, here remove it. So instead of writing function here, you can write like, okay, I think here they called. Okay, so here, where is the code? Here. Okay, I just going to say this dot. Okay, and here we will create an handler. Here I just going to say handle event listener. Okay, so I just going to create here, and here I just going to say return this dot state dot count value plus 1. And notice one thing here, you can see that here we use the this state component. Why we are using this state? So this is a default method that is available to change the component. Okay, changing the component. Okay, so what we need to do, so instead of writing like this, I need to, what I need to do, I need to say this dot set state. Okay, and it is a method, and inside this method you need to tell which data type that you have given here in that data type. And here you need to say this dot state dot count plus 1. Okay, what here we are doing, we are increasing the count value. We are going to increase each and every time when we click this one, we are going to increase the value of the count here. Okay, so what is the mistake that here I have done is, here I have done as well. Yeah, I just forgot to tell this count. Okay, so first what we need to tell, what we need to update. So the inside this object, if you tell it this dot set dot state, you will tell what is the object you want to do, and inside we can able to create n number of properties. And you need to tell what is the property you need to update. It is going to be the count property, and in this count property, what you need to update. Okay, what you need to update. Right now it is 0. Okay, so if I want to update to 1, simply I'm telling 1. Okay, so now I just going to say here this dot this name event handler. Okay, and you can tell before that you can create a function also like this. Okay, but this is not needed. It is a function inside this class. You should not take this function. Why? Because it is a method of this class. So we don't want to write a function inside it. Okay, in object also it is literally updated. You don't want to write function inside an object also for creating a property. You can just like go with it. And now if I go and save it, let us go here, and if I click it, okay, we are having, and web vital is not found. Okay, so somewhere in our index.js there is an error coming. Index.js. I think I removed this web vital here. Here I'm using that. That is why I just remove this one. Okay, now if we click, see this dot state dot count plus 1, and let me click. Okay, so here it is not working. So let me check what is the problem. Okay, so here I don't invoke the function. So you need to invoke this function. Okay, so until it will not work. If I click it, now it will be work. Okay, so what happened? I just want to give an arrow function, and I am passing what is the function that I want to work. So this refers to the class, and inside the class I have an event handler. So this event handler is just I'm invoking it. And once I invoke it, you can able to see that what here I'm doing. We are using a default function called setState method, and with the help of this setState method, what we can do, we can able to update our state. So right now the state is going to be count 0, and each and every time I'm going to click it, it is going to update it. But we don't know how it is updating. We just using this method set state, and I'm telling that in my state there is something called as count is there, and increase the count value every time you are clicking. Okay, just increase the count value every time of its initial stage. Okay, so if I click 1 2 like that, every time it is going to initiate it, but we don't tell how to increase it. I don't tell like count value is equal to 0, you need to fetch the inner HTML and you need to increase each and every time by plus 1 time, like that I don't tell, right? So here I just simply say use the set state, you need to change it, that's it. Every time that is going to update, this state is going to update. So it is my starting stage and this is my ending stage, and every time it is going to update it. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, so that's what it is happening here. So this is what state it is, but we don't want simple example to go with that. So what we can do, we just comment down, and I know we don't want any event handler. For just for example, we see that event handler here. What I'm going to do, I just going to create monster. Okay, and here it is going to be an array, and this array is going to contain a name. Okay, and here I just going to say name of the person. Okay, the first monster, and second I just going to give an id is going to be an number 1, and here I name and like something like this age. Okay, and I just going to say let's say 30. Okay, I don't want to tell my age. Okay, so I just going to write like this. Okay, so we created our single object. Okay, inside this, and now what we going to do, we're going to create a set of object. Same like this, create it. Okay, we have created 3 objects. Let me change the name. Okay, let me change this name to, okay, let me make it 20, let me make it 50, like that. Okay, so now what I want to do, so this is like a local variable. I just want to render everything and I want to create my component. So how can I do it? How can I do this? So let me do it here. So how can I achieve this one is, so we know that how to get this count, right? So right now there is no count is here. If I refresh it, it is going to throw, nothing is throwing because the count is not here. So it is telling that nothing is there. So it is not giving anything. So I just want to access this monster, and it is an array. So what I want to do is, I just want to loop through each and every item, and I need to fetch each and every value. Wait just a second. Okay, so what you need to do, so I just want to loop through each and every item, and I just want to go and get all the information, and I want to render it in my browser. So this is called as list rendering. So before we discussed about event handling, right? So the state is there and an initial state is there. The simply what I want to do, I just, if someone clicks it, I need to update it. So I just want to use this dot set state, and I need to use what is the exact data type that I have used in that object. Mostly it is an object, and I need to tell how to change it. So we are changing it. That's it. So that is event handling. So now list rendering. When we have some list, how to render it in React. So this is how we're going to work with. So now what I'm going to do, I don't want this h1 and everything. Simply I just remove this button, and here I just say instead of count, I just going to say here we will create another component that is going to be the title, and I just going to say welcome monster club, like this. Okay, and what I want to do here, I just want to this dot state dot title. Okay, so where we are getting this error, we need to give a comma for each and every component. And here you can see we are getting this welcome monster component. And if you want to add a class name, and I just going to say like title, like this. And if you want to create some inline css also, you can see create it. I just going to, we don't discuss about how to create an inline css, right? I just you need to give a style here, and whatever you are passing inside it, you need to pass like an object. I just going to say text align, text align. It's going to be, this is going to be center, like this. And now you can see it will be updated. So now the next thing what I'm going to do here, I need to render all the information that is in my state, and I need to do it. So well, what I'm going to do, I just going to write a comment here. I just say rendering the state list. So this is a comment, state list, like this. Okay, and let's save it. Now here I just going to write how can I render it. So rendering is a JavaScript, so I just want to use this one, and inside this only we need to write whatever we need to create. So first we need to fetch this monster. Okay, so how can we fetch it? Simply this dot state dot monster, we are fetched it. And what is this monster? The monster is an array. So now I want to loop through this array, which means iteration process I need to go for. So okay, yeah, now it is commented, it is multi-line comment. Okay, it is, this is the comment that you want to use in React. You just want to give a curly braces and you need to give it to comment it here. Okay, so now here it is coming because we don't have it and render anything. Okay, so that's what it is. And what we going to do here, I just go and tell it in console.log, please tell me what is this dot monster. And here refresh it, and now refresh it, and here we are getting, well, this dot monster is an array, and that array is a collection of name and object. Okay, so that's what it is. Just a minute. Yeah, okay, so that is what it is. So now what we're going to do, we're going to loop through this element, or you can store this in a variable and you can able to get it. So instead I just go here as it is. Okay, I just going to say this dot state dot monster. Okay, dot, and it is an array, so we can able to loop through by using map method or for each method, whatever method you like to use, you can use it either these two things. And this is going to take up a function, and here I just going to use this arrow function. Okay, and here I just going to tell what is the item that I'm getting. Okay, so do one thing here, we will give monsters, and we will update in here also monsters. Okay, and each and every data is like monster. Okay, and here I just going to say monster. So what is this map method, what is this function is going to take? Well, this function takes 3 parameter. First parameter is the value, second parameter is the index, third parameter is going to be the array that belongs to. So right now I just want the value, which means it is inside an array. I don't want an array, I want this object. So I just going to say here console.log monster, and I save it, refresh it, and you can get each and every time what you get, and you can see that it is rendering twice, right? I'm getting each and every value twice. If I clear and run it, you can see I have only 3 data, but it is rendering twice. Why? It's just simple. This is some default behavior the React is having in index.js. You can see this React strict mode, right? Just remove this. And right now re-render it, you can able to see we get it is only one time. Okay, just that default something it will do that. Okay, then remove it, that it will be there. Now I just go for here, and now what I'm going to do, I don't want this monster, I want the monster name. Monster name. And here if I save it, you can see we are getting the name of the monster. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to create a component for profile. this is going to be my profile component. Okay, let us create this profile component, and inside this we will pass this monster. Okay, so what we can do, I just going to say monster. Okay, and I just pass this monster inside this. Okay, right now we don't have any component in the name of profile. Let me create it. It will throw an error because there is no profile component is there. I just say profile dot asx, and the same import component from React. Let's create class profile extends from the component. Okay, and here I just say render. Okay, what it need to return? Well, I just want to return an h1. Okay, inside this only the name of the monster is going to be there, and I just want to return a paragraph, and here inside this only I just want to render the age of the person is going to be there, and I just going to wrap it inside a div. Okay, so I just copy here, and I just going to pass it here, and I just going to update it here like this. Okay, so right now we want to get this profile. So right now we passed it, right? So I just going to say this dot props. Okay, here I just ask for console.log this dot props, and if I save it, let us refresh it. Still we are getting an error. So what is the error is profile is not defined because we are not exported it, and I just say export default, and it is profile, and check it, clear, run it, an error because that is not imported. Yes, here it is not imported. I just want to import profile from profile component. That's it. Now if I refresh, we don't get this error. So now what I'm going to do, I want this dot props dot monsters. Okay, so this is what we want. We're looking for this component. Okay, it is not rendering. Why? Let us go here. And you can see we made a mistake. What is the mistake that we made is in arrow function, when you are using this block, you need to use the return keyword. Okay, if you don't use this block, then you should not use this. You don't want to use the return keyword, else you need to use this return keyword. Now if I render, we are getting an error. So this is the second one. So when this is list rendering, this is an error that we need to look into. Here you can see what is the error it is giving. Each child in an list should have an unique key prop. So what is this? Well, whenever you are work with list rendering, remember that the whenever I'm saying remember, just note it down. Okay, so whenever you are work with list rendering, so rendering a list. Okay, so you're going to render a list and you're going to update a component according to the list, right? So but React need a unique identification mark for each and every component. We should not, here I just going to render this profile component for the n number of times how much array we are having, that much of time I going to render it, right? So what here we need is, for this component I need a unique identification mark. So for that we need to give a key as a property, and here you need to give an unique identification mark for each and every component. So what is going to be a unique identification mark? Most of the cases in the data it will be an id. You can see right now the IDs are same, but it will be unique in most of the cases. Not all the cases the ID are going to be unique. Okay, so what we can do is, which is unique in your data, which is unique, just pass it while you are list rendering it. Okay, that is what you need to do it. So here I just going to say monster.id. Why we need to do this? Well, React need to identify each and every component separately. Okay, now if I render the same component again and again with the same data without any unique identification mark, React need a unique prop to identify it, because if anything I'm changed in that particular component, it will identify based on this unique identification mark only. Okay, so that is why this error is. If I save it, now if I refresh it, you can see there is no errors here, but in console we get undefined. which means we are asking for something that is not there. It's not monster, it's going to be monster, not monsters. So right now we are getting this object. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to destructure this. How can we destructure? It is an object. So I just going to say copy this one. This props dot monster is an object. So how can I destructure is const. It is going to be an object. And which object I need to destructure? This dot props dot monster. And what are the values I need to destructure? Well, I need this name and I need this age. So I just going to say name. You need to give the same case sensitive name and you need to give same case sensitive age. Now we destructured it here. You can use it here. Now it is going to be name and it is going to be age. Okay. Now if I saved it, okay, so now it is throwing me an error. Cannot destructure the property of name this dot props dot property as it is undefined. Why? Props dot not monsters. It's monster again. Okay. Now you can see we have render. So just imagine what we have done. We created our state. Okay. We created our state. Okay, and we added what are the data that it should be in our state. We have added it. Okay, and with the data we render each and everything and we passed that state value as a property to another component, and here we are rendering it. Okay, so this is state is within the component, and if you want to pass the data, then you want to go through something like this. Okay, and we discussed about list rendering and we have discussed about event handlers. Okay, we have discussed it. So now what we want to do is we need to understand when React renders. So this is another thing you need to notice down. So here you can start to style your thing. So right now we have age and everything, right? You can start your styling, like give a decent box things and you can start to style it. Okay. So now what we need to next thing understand is when React renders and when React re-renders. So what is mean by that? So a good React developer will know this one. What is that means? When React will render and when React re-renders, which means this rendering, you can able to see that, right? So when it will render is initially a component is uploaded to a web page. Okay. So during this time, it is uploading to a web page, right? So it is right now it is it is hosted, it is served, right? So it is during that time it will render. And the second time when it will re-renders means when the state is get changed. Okay, when the state is get changed, the react re-renders. So how can I check it? For example, here we just add an event listener, right? So let me add this one, a button. I'm just going to say click. We added here, and here I just going to say on click, and here I just going to say, it is going to take this dot and what is the function that we have created? We just uncomment this one. Okay, and here I just going to say handle event listener, and I just want to invoke this. And here I just say this dot set state. It is an object. Inside this, I want to change the object title. Okay, want to change the object title to welcome monster to instead of monsters list, like this, monsters premium, like this. Now what I'm going to do? Okay, now if I click it, you can see it is changed to premium monsters, right? It is changed to premium monsters, and this time React will re-renders. So how can I identify if React is rendered the component or not? We have an trick to identify it. What we can do? Well, initially here we will give inside this constructor method, I just going to tell console.log 1. Just give it. Okay, first when React reads it, first the constructor method will invoke, right? Well, the constructor method will going to invoke. Okay, so then once the constructor method, what it is going to do, it is construct the state. Once the state is constructed, the React method is going to render it. So here I just going to say console.log 2, right? This is second time, right? And now if I save it, you can see initially the constructor method is invoked, and second the render method is invoked. Now if I click this button, you can see again it is rendered. Again the entire component is rendered. Why? Because the state is changed. The state values is changed. This state is changed, right? So that is why it is rendering. So you like to change this monster also, you can change it. But you like to change this title also, you can change it. It's up to you. Okay, but what happened, it is just get changed. So now what can I do? Instead of I just going to set, if you want to set this monster, okay, we have monsters, and I just going to set a new array. I just copy this array, just copy. Okay, that's it. And I just going to paste here, paste it here. Okay, what is the array that I want to set it here? And here I just going to say the full name to see the difference. Okay, and I just give some name. Okay, and here I just going to say click. Where is the button? Where is the button? Premium monsters list. Okay, and if I save it, initially I just clear, and you can see initially this will be there. And if I click this one, you can see it is changed and it is updated. We getting this premium monsters list, right? So what we are doing, this is event handling. Okay, and with the help of this event handling, we are changing the state. So simply when React renders and when React re-renders is when the state is set, React renders. When the state is changed, whenever you are changing the state, React is going to re-render it. Okay, remember that. That is what going to happen. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to create a button for resetting. Copy this one and paste this one. And event handler, event. I just going to say list remover. Okay, like this. And here I just going to say reset. So like it is emergency. So if someone clicks this button, everything need to disappear. Okay, so I don't want to. It's like an emergency button. Okay, I just say emergency. Okay, so the list of the VIP list is going to be disappeared from the clubs industry. That's what it is. So I'm just going to say it is an emergency button, and if someone clicks it, this list remover need to run. So what we can do, we will create list remover. There's going to be a function, and it is going to do the same state, return this dot set state. Okay, here I just going to say what I want to set is the monsters into an empty array. So why I want to set to an empty array instead of say string and everything? Remember that whenever you are going to set a new state to your state. Okay, so what will going to happen, it is going to render. Okay, it is going to render it. So let me see, instead of this, if I give a string, now if I just run it, if I click this one, we will get this one. If I click it, we will getting an error. Why? Because we updated the state to a string, but here you can see that we are rendering that. We are using iteration concept, right? So we are iterating those things, right? So what is happening here, it is telling that the type error, this dot state dot monster dot map is not a function. Why? Because this map method will work only in arrays. So for that, I just going to tell an empty array. So now I just save it. And if I click this one, you can see this. And if I click this one, you can see the VIP list is get removed from our item, and it just get removed from our item. So simply when React renders, The state is state. When React re-renders, when you are changing the state. How can I change the state? Well, we can change the state. Sorry. Well, we can change the state with the help of this set state method. And with the help of the set state method, we can tell what we need to change it. And make sure that you need to give, if it is an object, you need to tell an object. And you need to tell what is the property and what you need to change it. That's what you need to do. Okay. So here, there is another concept is also there. And here, if I use inside this console.log, if I ask for what is this dot state, okay, if I ask for this dot state, okay, I think it is not this function. Inside return, okay, we returned here. Okay, where? Okay, we discuss about the callback function later. So here this is going to be end. Okay. If I ask a console dot log here. Okay. So now what I'm asking. Okay. So now the state is set, right? So this state is going to be set, and if I ask for this console dot log, and you can able to see what we are getting in the console. If I click this one, it is going to appear. If I click it, you can able to see what we are getting. We are getting this console.log. Okay. But what we are getting in this monster is the old one, not the updated one. You can see this one, right? So this state, the set state, what it is going to do, it is going to update the monster to this values, right? But after completing this process, I'm asking for console.log what is this state. It is providing the old method that is coming here. So why it is happening like this? Because this set state method is an asynchronous process. So what is an asynchronous process? So asynchronous process is nothing but this is handled by React, not JavaScript. Okay, and this is a JavaScript code. So JavaScript waits for no one, which means before the state is going to set, what is going to happen is this console.log is executing. Okay, because React does not wait for it. So the asynchronous process will take some time to work. Okay, so how can I achieve this functionality? So what is the functionality is right now we have this one, and if the state is set, okay, if the state is set, when I ask for this dot state, I need to get the newly updated state, not the old state. If I click this one, right now what I'm getting the old state, right? Old state. I don't want this. So how can we achieve this means? Well, this set state function, it takes a callback function also. So instead of writing like this, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this down. Okay, we remove this one, and it will take a callback function also. It takes two parameter. The first parameter is an function that is used to set the state, and second parameter is a callback function. So here I can use the function to set your state. Okay, and here just simply mention what you need to set, and then here it is going to take another function. It is a callback function, and this function wait for this function to complete. Okay, and here I just going to say console.log this dot state. Okay, an issue will be here. Maybe let me check it here. Yeah, now I'm getting an array. If I look it here, now if I look here, you can see that still we are getting the old one. Still we are getting this old one, which means I did something wrong. I did something. Okay, let me return. Okay, so now let me clear it, and if I run it, it is updated. So now we are getting an array. Let me check it here. You can see we are getting this updated value. So I forgot to give the return keyword. So what is happening means that this start state it takes two functions. The first function is used to set the state, okay, and the second function is used to wait for the first function to complete, and once it is completed, what I need to execute. Here you can tell it. So this is called as secondary callbacks. Okay, this is called as secondary callbacks, and with the help of it, you can wait for a function to complete, and you can able to this one. So this why we need it. You can check it whether our state is successfully stated or not, like that. You can check it, or simply you can directly go for it. Okay. So right now we have completed this much of things in class-based component, but we not touch into the function-based component. Tomorrow we're going to create an API project in class-based component, and we're going to cover the same thing. How can we achieve it with function-based component? Okay. So okay, let me do one thing. I forgot to give you the attendance form. Okay. Give me a moment. I will share you the attendance form. Please fill the attendance form and then you can leave. Meanwhile, you have any doubts, you can ask with me right now. Just a minute. Just a minute. So if you have any doubts, you can ask it now. Let's be patient for 5 minutes. Okay. So I will share you the attendance form. So yes, sir. Clear callback function also with state. Yes, clear. Yeah. Thank you. No doubt, bro. Thank you. Yes, sir. Clear callback function. Thank you all. Thank you. Just a minute. Sharing the attendance form. Attendance form. 1 minute. Just wait for 1 more minute. Okay. So this is what it is. So what are the today's class? What you need to understand is state. State is within a component and it is deciding the entire thing, like a structure. What the data that I want to tell, the initial stage, the ending stage. So we use event handlers in between to change it, and we have set state method to set the state, and we don't want to tell the DOM properties and do this, do that. React will do it. React will automatically do it. Okay. So that is the first thing. So the second one is going to be, yeah, the attendance form is there, you can fill it. The second one is can be while we are rendering. So because in some case you have, not some case, most of the case you will have a state that is an array listed object. So in that cases you need to render it. So while you are using the list rendering, you need to make sure that you are giving a key, a unique identification mark for a unique, thank you, a unique identification mark for the component. Okay. So then only the React will understand this component with that unique identification mark. Okay. It is useful nowadays. Class-based component is, I can say yes, but you don't want to focus more into it. Okay, class-based component is still there. So how can I say that means? Let me complete this one. Okay, and that is second one. And third one is when React renders and when React re-renders. While setting the state, it will renders. While re-rendering the state, it is going to render it. That's what it is. Okay. And secondary callbacks. Secondary callbacks are used in set. It will takes two parameters. One is the first function and second function to check an asynchronous process to wait. And once it is completed, I need to run this, so I can use the secondary callback. That's it. Okay. And come to the question, useful or nowadays, it will be useful. Why means because in, if you are going for a companies and the companies they already built some of the application that is in class based component, and while that time you need to handle that, right? So during that time it will be really helpful. Okay, but you don't want to give much focus on it, you can learn it later also. You focus on function based component because the React is updated towards the function based component, and you can just give focus on that one. Okay, so that is much more better. We can go for function based component, and if needed you can go for class based component. But what, why we need to see class based component also is because class-based component is initially introduced by Java, ReactJS. Okay, so from that only function-based component is get evolved. Okay, so we need to understand the concept of class-based component and what is the issues that we are having with class-based component. Then only we can clearly understand what is the problem that the function-based is solving. Okay, so if you understand class-based component, then function-based component is like a cakewalk for you. Okay, so up to my point. Okay, so that's what it is. So older project use it. What is older project use it? Older project uses it. Yeah, yeah, older project uses it. Yeah, in some case it will be they will be used to, some of them they are not updated to function based component. So in that time they don't want to touch the production level, right? So in that time if you want to handle it, you can go with that. And still companies are using class based component for some preferences. Some of them are not updated to function based component. It's up to the companies and the team that you are going to work with. Okay, so it's up to it up to them. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay. Okay. Mm, yeah, so that's for today. And tomorrow we will complete an entire AP project. Right now we created our own object and we have worked with. And tomorrow we will create an API. We will work with API and lifecycle components, and we will create an application, and we will see about what is hooks, which means how to handle states in function-based component. Okay. See you. Bye. Thank you. And please fill the form. It will be in the live chat. Okay. Don't forget it.